What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7, and it's time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, joined by my dog, Obi-Wan, if you're watching us in YouTube, and also by my good friend and co-host, Damon Gray. How you doing, Damon?
I'm sure the dog will probably provide some better opinions than I will today.
Well, this is kind of a fun stretch of podcasting for us because I feel like we're covering two shows weekly right now. We're talking Gen V every Wednesday. We're talking Peacemaker every Friday. And I feel like you're a little bit higher on Peacemaker than I am for season 2. And I'm a little bit higher on Gen V season 2 than you are. And
Which
so,
is funny because I was not that way prior to episode 6 of Peacemaker.
True. Very true, actually. We kind of swapped on that. But it has kind of allowed for some fun arguments and discussions as we go through these episodes, and hopefully we'll be able to get a nice spirited conversation going again today when we're talking about some Gen V. But before we do, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the Agents Fandom wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss out on all the content we got coming. We've just been dropping some early season 4.5 of Marvel Rivals coverage. Shout out to Amy, who has been doing some wonderful content for us on Marvel Rivals. She played season 4.5 early, has been playing as Daredevil, and so you can find some videos up on the Agents Fandom YouTube channel where we have a tutorial up on how to play as Daredevil, gives a breakdown of his abilities, ranking the skins, and some more still coming, so stay tuned for that. And you can follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else to see those as well. What you've been watching, Damon? I mean, it's been 5 days since we've talked to each other. It actually feels like it's been a while. So what have you been up to? What have you been watching? What have you been reading?
So, as I mentioned last time, I am still up on a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kick for reasons that will be announced in a couple weeks, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that. Also, just been reading a lot of DC comics. I've just been all in on DC, whether it's Superman, whether it's like some Wonder Woman books, going back and reading my old Nightwing compendiums that I've had. So a little bit the same on that front. On the gaming side, like I said, I'm fully invested in my Nintendo Switch 2. So just trying to play some games on there, getting very excited, getting very ready for the Pokemon Legends game coming out next week, TJ. Crazy how quickly and not quickly that finally came up. So just been taking it day by day in that regard and waiting for a new Pokemon. I'm excited. I'm ready.
I'm excited for that game as well, and I haven't even been able to think about it lately because I've just been so heavily invested in Ghost of Yotei. Like, I had to completely put a big pause in my movie watching journey, which I don't think I'll actually have to do when I'm playing Pokemon, because I feel like there's some movies that I'm not going to have to pay full attention to, and I'll be able to do a little multitasking, get them both going at the same time. But I am just so engulfed and invested in this game. It is incredible. It is by far my game of the year so far. The open world aspects are so much fun. It's so much bigger while still feeling accessible than the first game. And like, it's hard to describe anything from a story standpoint without going into spoilers. And so I don't want to, because if this is a game you're debating playing, if you were thinking about it but you were unsure, I really, really recommend it. This story has brought me to tears a couple times already, and I still have one chapter of the game to go. I still have to, finish and complete the story. And in addition to that, there's so many side quests, bounty hunting type things that you can do throughout this game that even if you're not playing the main story, it's a ton of fun. And then you actually start filtering back to the main story, and you just don't want to stop. You just don't want to stop. Anytime there's like an accessible pause in the story where it's like, oh, I guess I'll rest up and then I'll meet this person here. Take the opportunity to do as many side things as you can, because as soon as you actually get into the story, it is so hard to stop, and it makes you feel like you're in it. It's so engaging that it's like, oh, I got to get here and rescue this person. You don't want to do side quests because even though it doesn't actually affect whether that person will be rescued or not, you know, like time is, this isn't real life. Time is stopped in the game until you get back there. You're so engaged in the story that it makes you feel like you got to get back as quick as you can. So Ghost of Yotei, not finished yet, but so far 10 out of 10. Check out our friends over at the Controller Club, hosted by our friend Klein Felt. And they gave their full breakdown over there of Ghost of Yotei as well. So check that out and go play the game if you haven't yet. What about Comic Corner tomorrow? What have you been reading in anticipation?
So I have yet to go to my comic shop. I will be doing that immediately after this episode ends. But we have Absolute Batman is the big book of the day, and also DCKO, which is the first book of DC's big kind of like fall event where we're putting a bunch of superheroes and some supervillains into a big bracket style tournament to find out who becomes the absolute champion, who will attempt to try to take down Darkseid from the Absolute Universe. So big, fun, blockbuster type of event that's spanning across a lot of books. That book came out today, DCKO #1. If you have a local comic shop near you, go check it out. But as I mentioned, the big book is also Absolute Batman, and we will be talking a lot about it. I also I will bring up as well. I'll bring it up on the Comic Corner tomorrow, so I won't go too in depth. But it's been revealed that this new Batman run from Matt Fraction, the look, the vibe of it was designed in a very specific way as to maybe this is how a certain James Gunn's Batman is kind of going to be. Not one for one, obviously, but the vibe, the look, and maybe the setting. So if you're interested, go read #1. It's a very fine Batman book.
Where did that come from again? Sorry.
I saw it on socials.
There you go.
I saw IGN or CBR, one of those, post it. So it can't be that fake, right?
Yeah. I do want to check that out, and that actually does get me more interested in that Batman book, even though it's
I think actually Gunn didn't say that. Fraction said that.
Fraction said it. Very cool.
Yeah.
And so that's something that gets me more invested in it. Obviously, because there's nothing story related, but it does make me want to feel the aesthetic and really kind of dive into what maybe the DCU Gotham could end up feeling like and looking like.
It's very Matt Fraction. If you've read his Hawkeye run, which is my all-time favorite comic run, I've said that many, many times in terms of superhero comics. If you read Matt Fraction, what he likes to do is he gives little like info technology dumps,
right beside me.
Little technology dumps on whatever arrowhead Clint is using, but in this case, it's whatever piece of bat tech Bruce is using, and it's just very Matt Fraction. So I'd like to see a little bit of that in the Batman coming up. But also, just to throw it out there, who is the Robin in this Batman run, TJ? It is not Damian. It is Tim, as of right now, who, as I've mentioned before, is my least favorite Robin. Get an identity, Tim. Come on. Move on.
I've been rewatching Batman the Animated Series, and when Tim gets introduced in that show, that's just Jason Todd. That is not Tim Drake. That is just Jason Todd's personality in like every sense of the character. He's not smart like Tim. He's all like, I need to get in the action. I want to fight. I got to beat up these bad guys. And it's like, that's Jason Todd. And so it's kind of interesting to see how, when some of these characters were still in the development process, how they were kind of figuring out like, ooh, we want the next Robin to be this. And then that eventually ended up being who Jason Todd was, and Tim becoming somebody differently. So very cool how that kind of all transpires, because that's one of those TV shows too that's so integral to the story of Batman. Like so much of who Batman is and who Batman's characters are came from that show. We wouldn't have Harley Quinn if it wasn't for that show. So really has been a fun dive back into that. Speaking of Whatcha Watchin', that's been my bedtime show lately. We finished up the Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just felt too soon again to go back into Legend of Korra. And so I've been doing I've been doing Batman the Animated Series as like my before bed episode or two before I fall asleep. Kind of.
Have you ever watched the Superman animated series?
Yes, but I don't know if I actually have front to back to completion, because I kind of always just, as soon as I catch any of it, I always think, wow, I should go watch Justice League or Justice League Unlimited.
It's, you get a few of those crossover episodes in there. So if you haven't already, go check it out. It's just a fun classic series.
Definitely might have to. But fun thing about these series is, if you did not know, speaking of Avatar: The Last Airbender, same voice director, Andrea Romano, in charge of both of these projects. So maybe that's partially why we have these incredible voice acting performances in both of these.
He's getting to the point where he knows the voice directors, guys. He's losing it.
That's not something I would notice if it wasn't for like listening to the Braving the Elements podcast, and they had her on as a guest. They talk about their experiences working with her and how she's such a legend all the time. And then I'm put on a show like Batman the Animated Series, Young Justice, and then all of a sudden I see voice direction Andrea Romano, and I go, oh wait, I actually know who that is. It's the one voice director whose name I actually know. But let's dive into some Gen V Season 2, Episode 6. This has been a roller coaster ride of a TV show, and we'll talk about the specifics of all of it. But before we do, it is time for another retro recap. Retro recap number 3. Don't look so excited, Damon.
Oh boy.
Don't look like I just told you that the look on your face was that I just told you that, oh shit, we weren't actually recording. We got to start again. We got to start again from scratch. That was the look on your face when I told you we were doing another retro recap.
Well, let's see how this one goes, folks. Let's see it. What do we got?
What's the not feel nervous. The first one, we did a 1920s style Shiro Shinobi from Legend of Korra. Last week we did a Bruce Buffer style Let's Get Ready to Rumble boxing type recap. We're going back to the retro style today in the form of a 1990s, early 2000s movie trailer.
Okay.
What do you call it when a girl is revived from the dead? A group of college kids escape from prison, and a little girl with killer snakes in her mouth saves the day. An average day at God U. Marie, Annabeth, Kate, Bam, Jordan, and Emma. Can the lovable team of collegiate misfits band together to fend off disaster? Find out now on the Agents of Fandom podcast. Huh?
I was just gonna try to play some music behind it at that point, get it going. That was not the right music.
I needed some kind of, as soon as I said an average day, God you, that's when we need the needle drop of like some kind of 2000s punk rock to just kind of like really almost get going into it as we introduce the characters and they come over the screen and do their poses. Could have worked. It could have worked. Damon, what are your thoughts on the season 6 episodes through so far? We only got 2 left to go.
Oh, we only have 2 left to go. Okay. Well, Gen V or The Boys season 4.5 has been going. It's been going. There's a lot of aspects I like. I feel like I'm on the fence of not loving that it's essentially just build up and a tie-in for the final season of The Boys. I think they're doing as well as they can, trying to also make it about our cast of characters from Gen V season 1 that like we know and we like. But it's very Marie focused for she is essentially the main character of the show from the viewer's perspective. So that makes sense. And I feel like they're doing a balancing job as well as they can. It's just every episode, it's like, oh yeah, here's the boys tie-in. Oh yeah, here's the boys tie-in. Here we go. Here's the next step to get to where we're going. Here's the next step to get to where we're going. And I don't know if this season will have almost kind of like how you feel about Peacemaker, which is funny. We are so flip-flopped on this. I know you can't fully comment on the show and how it will end, but for me, I'm a little worried that I don't know if I'm going to be fully like, yeah, that was a season of television, or it's going to be a big cliffhanger. It's like, find out what happens next in the final season of The Boys. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Look who's doing the next retro recap.
Yeah. But it was essentially the same thing. So that's how I'm feeling about it right now. I think the writing's solid. It's the last few episodes we haven't done like the shock value just for shock value. We had a little of it this episode, but it wasn't like obscene. It was just it was there. So I think like on that end, that's gotten like better. But I'm sitting here and I'm just like, man, I just wish it was just a little more isolated from the entire story, just because I don't know if I necessarily care about what's going on at the final season of The Boys. Like, I think Homelander is like one of the best villains we've seen in recent memory. And I'm going to be excited to see him finally get taken down, I assume, by the end of the last season of The Boys. But I just wish that this season wasn't so focused on that, and it was just a little just bit more focused on the individual story, like our character stories.
I think it would have bothered me if it was like just constantly referencing The Boys and making clear, like, yes, this is a spin-off. You have to have watched it to watch Gen V, but then not have the Gen V, because it is that, but then not
Because you
have the
definitely
Gen V
do.
character.
There's a character every single episode that comes in.
Yeah, no, it is that, but it would bother me if the Gen V characters and their story also weren't then integral going back to The Boys. If it was one-sided, that would have bothered me a lot more. But the fact that it kind of seems like the answers to how are the boys, this group of team in The Boys, how are they ever going to solve the Homelander problem? How are they ever going to get one up on Vought? How are they ever going to do this? And it kind of seems like we've been stuck in that spot for the last 2 to 3 seasons. And to me, that answer is the Gen V characters. And I like it. I like the way they're telling that story. Like, as long as in my brain, it is one complete story of these are all different seasons of the same television show that focus on different characters. And that gets me excited, because to me, it's less so Gen V needing that connection to The Boys to succeed. And it feels more Gen V is so successful, is so powerful, that they got to bring it into The Boys universe to save the day. And something about that really makes me like the connections in this story, and it doesn't really bother me that that we get those, just like some of them gratuitous, some of them meaningful to the story, and then some of them gratuitous. But let's dive into full spoilers to this. And the episode starts off with the gang pretty easily breaking out of prison. Considering how much of this story has been like, they're trapped in this prison, how do they get out? They use that as like, that's how Andre died, is because he tried to get everybody out of this prison. And then Sam comes in like the Kool-Aid man, drops in, oh yeah, and they're out immediately before the opening credits.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Did it feel like, did that bother you at all, or was that just like a, hey, whatever, we've seen this story before, we got to get to the next point?
More the latter. I was just like, yep, of course. We had to find an excuse for Sam to not be there the last couple episodes, so they get put in this situation. He deals with his things at home. Oh, looks like he's a somewhat changed man. Bring him back in. Boom. So here comes Superboy Prime. Literally.
On that note, actually, and he is essentially Superboy. That's a very good point. On that note, what do you think about the Sam and Emma relationship? Sam's clearly trying to put it back together in this episode, and Emma's kind of not fully having it. I know you're not a shipper, Damon. You don't give you don't like the word. You don't really care. But what do you think about their story? Are these two characters you're hoping end up together, or are you kind of feeling like Emma should get the hell out of there?
I don't care if they end up together or not. I think it's interesting in terms of you have like a character who was ranked the #1 most powerful like superhero in the university, and in the end, it's their girlfriend, right? So I think like that aspect is interesting, but like the rest of it, like it's fine to me.
What about the reveal that Annabeth has been a Supe all along? Is this something that surprised you? Tell me about give me your.
They just dropped that. Well, actually,
It
here's
did.
my
Like,
first
it didn't
problem
even
with
feel
it.
like a reveal. It was like it just bang, it's
Well,
here.
because here's my first problem with it. And I didn't do it this week intentionally because I was like, why the fuck did they reveal that in the preview from last week? Like, that would have been a crazy, like, almost like a, oh shit, reveal. But they included it in the preview from last week. So, like, when it happened this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I knew that. Right? It's stuff like
That's
that where I'm just like,
disappointing.
man, I wish I didn't watch a preview. So I
I
really
was
didn't
trying to
have
come
a
up with
reaction to it.
well, maybe they did it because of this. Well, maybe they did it because of this, but I hate that. I hate when they do that kind of thing. Show us cool bits in the trailer, cool action shots, this cool cinematography. Don't give us story beats. Don't give us story beats in these previews. Let us all experience it when it happens. I
And
do
look,
hate
I
that because
get it
I did think that
because it
was a pretty
happened
cool
so
review
early
when
on
I
in
was
the episode,
reveal when I
right?
was watching it.
I was gonna say it happened so early on in the episode that's like I kind of get why they put it in there, but like that was like kind of a crazy reveal that I wish that I had an actual reaction to it, just be like, oh crap. Other than, yeah, I saw that.
And I wonder how much of it was because of like, hey, this isn't the story that we're trying to dive into right now, and because they even kind of swept over it in the episode of like, when did you get the compound V? How did this happen? Well, my parents kind of died before I got the chance to ask them, Marie. It's just like, damn. And like, clearly, this isn't the episode where we are diving into Annabeth's past experiences and who she has become as a person. And because she is just anytime Marie asks, so I kind of feel like Marie was the voice of the audience in that episode. She just gets shut down so hard. Annabeth is so rude. She says, everything bad in my life that has happened to me is because of you.
I mean, yeah. Do you blame her necessarily? She's kind of like been told to think that way too.
That's the thing, is like, I, from what we have seen, obviously we know not to blame Marie at all. She could not have done anything in that situation.
Yeah.
She didn't know about the power. She didn't know how to control her powers. Her parents put the powers there. It is very clearly their fault. But obviously, we haven't, Annabeth hasn't experienced that story. She's just experienced my parents are dead and my sister killed them. So it's like, I get it, but damn, that's harsh.
Yeah, I mean, it's harsh, but as you said, like we have the perspective. We've been with Marie this entire time for the most part, right? Like we have our entire perspective. So I almost feel like I'm not like that interested in that dynamic just because we've been so one-sided into seeing the blame game on the other side. So we know how to feel. And I don't really have like that much remorse because of it, or other than just like Annabeth's been told to think this way her entire life, pretty much since her parents died.
Screw you, Pam.
Yeah.
Pam, you're an adult, Pam. You should know that this is the parents' fault, but alas, we don't have it. And as much as I know you don't care for the how heavy the boys' tie-ins has been happening in this series, it had to have come as a shock and a surprise when we get Zoe and we get Stan coming in to save the day. That to me was an exciting one. That wasn't like, that was like one of the Starlight one as opposed to the Deep for me, when I'm like, oh hell yeah, we're in it now. We're getting to the good stuff.
I honest God forgot that everyone on that side was alive. It's just, it feels like it's been so long since I watched Boys where like, Giancarlo Esposito walks on stage. I'm like, I thought your character died. Like I totally forgot that he's still
Everybody
alive.
did think he died for a while, but then he popped up last season, I think.
Yeah, but I'm just like, oh yeah, you're alive,
Or two
and
seasons ago.
and it was like you're alive, and you're against Vault now. I'm supposed to like you now, type of thing. Like I had to like rewrap my mind around it because I feel like I'm not like fully invested in this universe. Like I kind of like dip into it because it's fun. It's an interesting take on superheroes. It's drastically better than the damn comic book. I'll fully
Yeah.
give it that. It is drastically better than the boys' comic. Just don't bother reading it. It's fine at best.
Speaking
So
of
I'm not like
shock value
fully,
for the purpose
fully.
of shock value.
Yeah, like I'm not like fully invested into it. So I'm not like keeping like a mental tally of like who's alive and theories and stuff like I do with like a lot of Marvel shows, or in this case, James Gunn's like new DCU. I'm not like fully like, oh yeah, this and this is gonna happen. So when something pops up, I'm like, oh yeah, huh? It's almost like a little bit of like, is this how the general audience feels when they sit down in a Marvel movie and someone pops up and it's like, that guy? That's how I feel right now. It's weird.
I totally get that. It didn't hit that specifically for me because I think Zoe is so fun. Where it's like, as soon as I saw her popped in, she's just this sweet little kid who doesn't realize how extremely insane the life that she is living is, and just has these deadly snakes living within her that she uses to kill people with blood all over the body. And she's like, "Hi, everybody. How are you?" And then basically Giancarlo Esposito, anytime I get him in anything, it's a plus. Like Captain America Brave New World, I don't really feel like his character needed to be there. Like
It
this,
definitely did
I
not
didn't
need to be there.
understand what the storyline really was going on with him. That seemed really makeshiftly put together, but he was damn good still. Like
That
when
movie was
as
really
an acting
spaghetti.
performance, he was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was fine. I didn't need him in there, but it's Giancarlo Esposito, great actor, fantastic guy. When you need a good villain, so it was just nice to see him pop up, I guess.
We get a two-piece like action setting in this episode where we get Cypher versus Polarity, and two, we get this big Viking dude going to attack everybody, and it's Marie, Sam, and Jordan who have to fend him off. But the one that really mattered for the plot was this Polarity and Cypher type of thing, because we further get to see Cypher's powers, which we still don't totally understand the extent of them. And it leaves like Polarity pretty shook up afterwards, but he does manage to send him out a window. And ultimately, it pushes the plot forward because Cypher finds out where Emma is from that conversation as he's puppeteering Polarity. But the big kind of reveal, which fans have been piecing together, I know after our last episode, we were talking about this. I believe it was Jam we were talking to who theorized like that's got to be Thomas Godolkin, right? That old dude has got to be Thomas Godolkin. And we fully get the not reveal, but almost reveal. The cast is the people in the show are speculating the same thing as the people outside of the show now, as it's revealed to Stan Edgar that, hey, Cypher's got an old dude in a hyperbaric chamber sitting in his house, probably about the same age as Thomas Godolkin, since he said he happens to be continuing his research. We're going to get the big reveals in the next couple episodes. There's only 2 to go, but what do you think is this story? We got Cypher, who has these powers we don't understand. Is he continuing his research? Is he trying to end his research? Is this a trophy? Is it a helper? Is it really his dad? What do you think is going on?
I enjoy the theory. I think Jam put it out there where Godolkin is a soup and it kind of has the power to possess people. So I feel like he's like possessing his son. I like that theory. I think that would be the most interesting because if not, then just why the hell are you keeping this man alive? Doesn't make any sense to me.
And it goes back to like some of the scenes that we've seen earlier that it's like, oh, I guess maybe that could make more sense if he is that like.
Yeah.
So like that's what you were. As soon as Jam brought that up, that was the first thing you said is like, well, I guess that would make me feel better about a couple scenes earlier in the season.
Yes.
With some crazy sex stuff going on in front of this old man. But I obviously can't comment on the theory, but I wanted to bring it up since you guys had talked about that as well, and now they're bringing it up in the show. Stan Edgar, this is kind of like you were like how you brought up earlier, like I guess I'm supposed to cheer for this guy now. He reminds us once he finds out about the potential Godolkin that this is not a man to be trusted. This is not a man that we can hope our agendas align with his, but ultimately we can't trust him. He's going to double cross us as soon as it benefits him personally, because he starts off saying like, hey, I was going to offer you comfort. I was going to offer you protection. And I just wanted your help taking this guy down. And he immediately pivots to this could be the answer to controlling all Supes, not just Homelander, everybody. He immediately switches back to world domination mode. And so you kind of, just as he's got so much gravitas. And it was kind of like the Mandalorian as well, right? Because I'm sitting here looking at the writing at the end of this season with his character, and I'm like, this sucks. But damn, it's Giancarlo Esposito doing a good job. That's how I felt about him in Brave New World. But bringing back to this, like, we get to see this is not a dude to be trusted. I don't even know, like, I don't want to throw another theory question at you here, but I just feel like, how does one, as like a putting yourself in their shoes, because I'm sitting there thinking, like, at what point we have no choice but to align ourselves with this man, and he just told us face to face that he wants to control us and use us as slaves. How do you handle this situation?
I mean, this world is so fucked up anyway. This entire world is just so twisted. There's no one you can go to in this world for help because everyone's in someone else's pocket. Vought just controls everything, right? So you go blabber on someone that this man's even alive and it just will backfire in your face. So that's, you know, the double-edged sword of this show. So if you were them, theoretically, you kind of have to, like, team up with them for as long as you can and as long as you see yourself still having an upper hand, because the second he gets the upper hand, you're cooked, you're toast.
The reason I think I'm really enjoying this season, because we kind of get the reveal in this episode that not only was Marie part of Project Odessa, she was one of 2 survivors from the program ever, and the other one was Homelander. I
could have seen this coming. I feel like when that was revealed, it was just like, yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense, and honestly, it got me so excited because it seems to be setting up, like, if Marie is going to be the one to take down Homelander, that's what makes me love the connections. Because if they're saying, like, yeah, you got to watch this show because this is going to introduce you the character that is going to be the key to trying to do the thing that we've been trying to do for 4 seasons and haven't been able to, I don't know, like, it gets me very excited. And I just feel like I love I am a sucker for the main character chosen one story of, like, the reluctant hero. I don't want to do it, but you're the chosen one. You got to do it. Okay, fine, I'll do it. That's kind of seems to be what they're getting to with Marie. And it's exciting as hell. And I think it works with the themes of this story where you have the all-powerful Homelander who is embodying all the wrong ideals. He aligns himself with the Nazi. He is, if it's not white supremacy, it's Supe supremacy for him. And then we have this black woman who is the opposite side of the same coin, ready to take him down. And I just feel like it's a cool. After just watching one, actually no, I was about to spoil some things from one battle after another. Let me dial back the point that I was going to make. But I appreciate the love and the care that Marie is getting treated with this episode, and that she's really developing. Not this episode, this series.
Yes,
and she's really developing into one of my favorite characters in the whole boys universe.
A little bit. She's also. I feel like Emma may still be my favorite. Just I love Emma too.
It's Marie and Emma as my 2 favorites by far.
But also, like, I feel a little bad for Kate. Because especially at the very end of this episode, where it's like Maria's like, you could fix me.
She's getting fucked around.
Yeah, it's like, you could fix me, and like we could like end this now, essentially. And she's like, end credits, right? Like, it was like, okay, sure. So I feel like a little bad for her on that front, but I think Marie's the most interesting character of this series, and I'd hope so. She's literally the main character, right? Like, we've been with her since the first few minutes of this show, so that was always the intention. If she wasn't the most interesting character, then we definitely have a much bigger problem on our hands. But the relationship she has with her sister, we mentioned, is like, it's I don't know where that's going. I could see her sister dying by the end of this series, and that's like a real catalyst that puts her off in it, like dying again, to the point where, like, can't be brought back to life type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Or To bounce off again of a theory you have on how you think this entire thing is going to end, we can buckle down and possibly say this. If you think that Marie is going to Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, take away the V out of Homelander, we already know the first person she's going to do it to, because Annabeth hates the V in her system. So the one thing she could do to really get her sister back on her side is to take it out of her and be like, I can do this to her, I can do it to him.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a really, really
But
cool.
I feel like this season needs to end on that. If it's something that continues into the boys, then I consider that a failure. Because I need like some big moment that is like what we've been building to the last 2 seasons, or at least in this season. So it's not just like, and this will be continued type of thing. Because if that's the case, and you're like, well, damn, I feel like I just ate half a sandwich.
I guess I'm kind of, I don't know if this will be true. And to be fair, like, to be full disclosure, full honesty, I actually don't remember off the top of my head how the season ends. I watched it so long ago that I feel like I was rewatching this episode today and was like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, that happened. And I actually don't remember how the season concludes. I don't remember if they win. I don't remember if they lose. I don't remember if it's all hell breaking loose, if it's a team up, or if people are going on solo. And so I'm going to be rewatching basically as though I haven't seen it. But even if that kind of doesn't get wrapped up here, I am kind of expecting in the final season of The Boys, Marie will be the main character as much as anyone else. I'm expecting
She'll be Starlight's number 2.
It's as much as it's kind of like, it's, you know, how it's usually split between like Huey's story,
Starlight story, Homelander
Starlight story, and then Butcher story.
Oh yeah, Butcher
with the rest of the boys' story. It's kind of like in 4 quadrants of you got your Frenchie and Kimiko or MM story, whichever one is happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Partially Butcher, partially Huey, partially Starlight. Sometimes the Huey and Starlight one is connected. And I kind of feel like Marie is going to be getting her own slice of that pie now, where it's like the Gen V characters are as much of the main characters in the boys' final season as anyone else.
I feel like if they do that, and I'm expecting them to, they have to also assume that the boys fans are not also watching this, and they will need, unfortunately, probably a whole ass episode just being like, here's her story and here's how we got here type of thing.
Which makes sense because Starlight's the only one who knows Marie at this point. And so I feel like we'll get the, hey, everyone, this is Marie Moreau. She is the only other person who is as powerful as Homelander on the entire planet. And so I kind of feel like they'll give us that catch up in that setting where, because she needs to be introduced to the boys, that's how they'll introduce these characters to the audience as well. Any other final thoughts or theories on this episode?
My big theory, like I said, is I feel like she will take Annabeth's Annabeth's V serum out of her, and that will be the thing where they're like, oh shit. I mean, obviously incredibly powerful, but she can take away Homelander's power. Although I still feel like that will be a problem until Homelander actually dies. Just because of the amount of people that just like worship Homelander, no matter if he is super or not at that point. But that'll be like a whole final.
It's gonna be literally A-Train just running through him while he's a human, the exact same way as the series began. That's how he'll die. He'll be talking to somebody as he's regularly human, and just like A-Train, boom, he blows up. Series end.
I love coming full circle. I think that is a fun idea. I would like to see a poll of people be like, who would you like to see take out Homelander? Like, who would you like to see essentially deliver the final blow? Because I don't know if A-Train would be very high up on people's list. I think he'd be on a few people's list, but Huey, Butcher, Starlight, I feel like would be like the top 3 of people who they want to see really take him out.
Who do you think it'll be?
It should be
Who delivers the final blow?
It should be Butcher.
Should be Butcher. I could see it being Starlight.
It could also be Starlight. I think it should be Butcher. Personally, he's
I
had
feel like that
the
assumes that Butcher makes
most
it through
beef.
the whole season.
He's had the most beef.
Yeah, he has.
The
I
longest
I
history.
don't know if he's
in
going to make it
everything,
that
right?
long.
Like, he has the longest history.
Yeah, I could see us. I could see us losing Butcher before the end of season. Is it 5 of the boys? I feel like 5 is the final
You know
season.
who I'd like to see get the treatment that you just said with the specifically A Train running through someone? Make that the Deep. That would be a very deep way for him to go.
That would be very funny as well. Starlight's got to give the last blow on the Deep though. Starlight's got to be the one to
you're
take him
right.
out.
No, you're totally right on that. That's fair. No, that's totally fair.
The idea you talked about of like doing a poll, who should be the one to give the final blow on Homelander, it immediately brought me back to the DCKO thing, and it made me think about a question that I was going to ask you at the beginning, and I forgot to. But since you will be talking about DCKO tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. for the Comic Corner, will it be you or will it just be AF and Fat Thor?
AF should be back tomorrow.
AF should be back tomorrow. Will you be there? Or you traveling?
I will be there tomorrow.
Still be there tomorrow. When do we start getting the results for DCKO? Is it like how is that something that they're like they're dropping a book of this person versus this person and you have to read it to find out who wins?
I don't know. I haven't read any of it yet. I do know that DCKO #1 comes out today. Again, I have not read it yet. I assume there will probably be a couple results in that book, but there is a Superman tie. Like, there are specific tie-ins from like their ongoing series that I feel like will have the results of said characters. Like, there's a Superman one, Wonder Woman one, that will have tie-ins of like their characters.
Very cool. I definitely want to be tuned in when we get the Red Hood versus Damian Wayne fight. That's the one I think I'm most interested in
where
the
to
first
find
round.
that.
Check out Damon, AF, and Fat Thor on the Comic Corner every Thursday morning. And then myself and Sean Mott, host the Metalcore Nerds and fellow agent of Fandom, will be back on Friday to be talking about the season finale of Peacemaker. Damon, I'm so sad you're missing us for that, but I feel like I want a full Peacemaker segment from you next week when we're talking about Gen V.
Okay. Can I give some theories beforehand?
Heck yeah. Drop
who
them
we
down.
can see. Let's go through an entire list. We're dealing with dimensions. Mixixpitalik, I want to see in there. Batmite, throw bat. I could see James Gunn throwing in Batmite before we see fucking Batman for the first time in live action. I can absolutely see that, and I can see so many people getting mad about that, and I just think that would be fucking hilarious. What else? From a dimensional point of view, I still think Blue Beetle is almost a guarantee, but I think it'll be like Jaime specifically, not Ted Cord. I don't think I would be stunned if we saw any DCU characters. Do you agree with that? I would be actually stunned if we saw like
I don't think they do that. It's the wound is too fresh for them to be doing things like that.
Absolutely. If this was like a few years later and we're all like fully on board, like that's technically like the third project, I think that would be way too early. But if you're like a little bit down the road, I could have seen that being a possibility and could have had a little bit more fun with that. Is there anyone, since this is our last thing before that, is there anyone you want to see that I think is realistic, that you think is realistic? So I'm not saying like we see the universe where Peacemaker finishes the season 1 thing. It's like the Teen Titans are coming down instead type of thing, right? Like I want, like, give me a realistic one.
That was part of the DCU or just in general?
I mean,
part of EU, sorry, EU.
Yeah. No, not even EU. I'm just saying, like, who do you think we could be possibly seeing in our dimensional fun?
I do want to touch on like going back to what we said about would we see anybody from the old universe? I do think that if there's one person who's possible, it would be Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And just because they do a little, dude, you said I fucked fish over here. I said, well, do you? And just have like a little interaction of that to make as a post-credit scene to make light of them changing up everything in the recap.
Especially
because Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo.
I thought of one.
Hit me.
You ready? Who did we think? What do we think happened to clone Superman? Possibly turning into Bizarro, right? Now, who knows if there's maybe a deleted cut moment scene that he could throw in there, and we see our first look almost at like Bizarro, but Dave Cornswell has no idea because it was already kind of like a pre-recorded thing, and they just CG'd some suit on him, some backwards-ass suit. I think that's a possibility. I don't think that is completely out of the picture.
I don't think that's out of the picture either. And I think, like, in terms of who would be the most realistic person shows up at the end, I don't think it'll be another universe thing. I think it'll be once everything resolved, and it'll be Amanda Waller. We get showing back up in this. And I think maybe this might be too quick and unearned, but I think we potentially see more Lex Luthor in this episode, and having him being either out of Bel Rev or controlling something in Bel Rev, because I am still leaning very heavily into, we are going to get, as soon as he is out of there, we are going to get him retrying the cloning process, putting his own DNA in there, and getting our first hints of Connor Kent. I don't think that'll happen in the finale, but if we might get the first step towards that with Luthor getting some freedom.
Well, we do know this is a direct prequel lead into Man of Tomorrow. We have seen and thought about the potential Brainiac teases. Is there any way you'd think it may not be Brainiac? We're overthinking this.
The only thing, I think it's Brainiac or a Crisis.
Which we both agree would be insanely early for that.
Insanely early, but given the fact that there is Crisis on 2 Earths, Crisis on Earth X, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, well, you can.
There are the opportunities to lead up, but like I do agree that would be too early. Like the betting favorite is Brainiac by far, I think. Because they wouldn't do Darkseid yet.
No, not yet. Not as like a big film. No, not yet.
I think it's got to be Brainiac. Who do you think it's going to be? Let us know at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. You got a thought, you got a theory, you want us to read it on the podcast? Make sure you subscribe to the Agents Fandom wherever you get your pods and leave us a 5-star rating and review. We will read it out, talk about it, shout you out here on the podcast. Let us know your thoughts on Peacemaker, on Gen V, on Superman. I forgot this was a Gen V show with how much we were just talking DC at the end of it. But for more DC, we're covering Comic Corner on Thursday morning. We got Peacemaker on Friday. We have new early look at Marvel Rivals Daredevil season 4.5 up on the YouTube page with more content coming. So stay tuned for more of that. I think I hit everything. Hit the like button. If you are watching us on YouTube, either live or after the fact, help us battle that YouTube algorithm, grow this community. I think it's time for me to go play some more Ghost of Yotei. So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in today. We will see you next time. On behalf of my peace.